Good evening, Spurs fans everywhere. This is a joint broadcast, simultaneous broadcast between THSC Till I Die, the home of Spurs, past, present, and a future that's looking a bit dodgy at the moment, and Spurs Between the Lines with the lovely Mia, who's with me today as co-host. So how are you, Mia?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Been to the gym today, so I'm feeling a bit tired.
Very good. Right, yeah, indeed. I think we're all a bit tired at the moment, mentally tired from all the
Yes.
comings and goings that we're hearing in the last 48 hours about Paratici and such things. And it's been quite a, we're getting an awful lot of exposure on Sky Sports, Talk Sport, and the like of that, and none of it's positive. I'm afraid we are really, really
Well,
getting a negative press at the moment, and quite rightly so, because you can't deny that things have not been handled very well here. So, anyway, just before we get into the chat, I just welcome a few people in. It's good to see some of the usual suspects here. Carl Simpson, how are you, Carl? Good afternoon, people. Conte decided his own fate way before the players got involved. He has wanted out for months. Yeah, it does look that way, okay. I think the Southampton game was probably the final straw when he broke his back and he had to go and make that speech that he did. But as we'll talk about later on, some of the players have not been too shy in coming forward either with their views on him. So, I think what's happened is probably the best thing for the club, because I think things would have got pretty nasty if he was back in the training room this particular week. And sorry, Ellie saying, "Hey, Ellie. Hi, Ellie. How are you?
hi,
Hey, Philip.
Ellie.
Still really ill. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Ellie. You've a bad old dose of that. I've been watching, and thanks for keeping the shows going with Mia. Oh yeah, sure. It's we love our club and we love keeping these things going. It's just a pity we don't have more positive news to report at the moment. That's the draggy part of it. And this is sorry, I hit this one to Lisa. This is Leo saying my best to Dermot and his family. Yeah, I was talking to Dermot yesterday evening, and yeah, he's getting over it. I think it's actually his partner's birthday today, and they're going out for a meal, so that'll get him, get him back into the swing of things. But I think it'll probably be another few days before he's actually back in action. But we look forward to him coming back. And Ellie again, so much chat about Spurs news gone crazy, and it had to be when I lose my voice and coughing like hell when all hell is broken loose at our Spurs. Yeah, I think actually Levy might be glad you lost your voice, Ellie. He might be that round outside the ground shouting at him if you hadn't, But get well soon, And this is what the disabled team is saying, to get well soon, Ellie. We all wish you well there.
Yeah,
So
I wish Ellie
the,
well. Sorry, I was going to say I wish Ellie well, and obviously all the best to Dermot, and I hope they do have a nice meal today, because he definitely deserves it, to go out and just have a nice meal together.
Yeah, no, they've had a rough few days, a rough week or 10 days, so that'll get them out and get them hopefully get them back on the road back to normality again. Right, we have a few things we want to discuss, and the first thing we're going to do about player power, and this is what we're going to talk about. This: were Richie and Romero correct in what they said? As Mia was saying to me earlier, it was a bit like a Brazilian-Argentinian co-conspiracy to get their views out there quickly. I'd say two of the most vocal, what would you say, don't take any shit players in our team were the first to come out and speak their mind about Conte. And were they right, Mia?
Do you know what? It is a really difficult one, isn't it? Because I was listening to some other people and their opinions, because I'm somebody who likes to listen around and hear what other people are actually saying. And while we don't really want player power of any kind, like that's not really what we want. But I don't really see Romero as someone to say something just for the sake of it. And I don't see him as like someone who just moans for nothing either. However, my problem is that, do you know what? People will not actually say too much about this, but when it comes to other players, people say a lot about it, if that makes sense. So I just think that people need to keep the same energy with it. So when Davies apparently did it, which I can't find any credible source to say that he got anyone sacked. However, other players might have gone to the club as well as Davies, but Davies was more reported, like was found out to do it. I don't know. We don't know that other players also didn't come forward with Richie and Romero, but they just haven't reported it. So what I will say is that we need to keep the same energy for all players that do it. So if you don't agree with it, then you shouldn't agree with it with any players at any club. But if you're like me, who is a bit, I don't know, like I don't want player power, but I also think that players obviously have got an opinion, and I suppose that threatening the club isn't really the way to go about it, but it's difficult, then I will always keep that for all the players, if that makes sense.
I think the Ben Davis scenario, I think now again, I'm speaking this, I'm open to correction on this. I think he may have had a word with Daniel Levy about Nuno.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't think in reality, I don't think any of us can really blame him for doing that because if it had the desired results, because we might be in a fix at the moment, but we would be in a worse fix if Nuno was still with us. So, but you're right. There are Richie and Romero strike me as being very vocal, passionate South Americans who, while Europeans mightn't be just as good as expressing their feelings, these two guys won't hold them back. I mean, to come out and say that if that guy's still at the club in the summer, I want a new club, that speaks volumes. Okay, there might be an element of selfishness about what they said, but you've got to look at the broader picture. What has happened to make the guys make the statement? If things were going okay at the club and everything, they were happy, they wouldn't be doing it. Now, I have read in the last couple of days some of Conte's training regime methods were a little bit strange. Now, for example, and you probably heard about this one, after we were beaten by Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League back in September. Now, they would have got back to the Hotspur away at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, right? On the Thursday morning, Wednesday morning, whatever it was. The training session was due to be at 2 p.m. the following, or that day, later on that day. Conte brought it forward to 11 a.m. to punish the players for the way they'd reacted and played in the game in Lisbon. Now, that did not go down well, and that was really unfair. You're after playing a match, you've gone for a 3 or 4 hour flight home, you've got maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep, and you're expected to get up again and start the training at 11. That is not a way to get your players on side. So this could have been the start of it with Richie and Romero. Now, Richie never looks happy at the best of times anyway. He's a miserable looking sod, really. But I think the fact that he was finding it difficult to get into the side probably has a lot to do with his frustrations. Romero's, I'd say, the slightly more deep-seated because Romero gets a game. Whenever he's fit, he plays. So I think that they probably are not the only two players that may have. I think Højbjerg may have had something to say. But I think what's going to be interesting now, like all the players should be back in the club from today, I would imagine, after the international break. And will be interesting to see what comes out of the club now they're all back together again. And if there's a united voice that they're all glad Conte's gone, or, as I suspect, there might be a split in the camp. Half of them want him to stay and half of them want him to go. And that's not good for us, really.
No.
But we'll have to wait and see.
Do you know what I heard, Philip, is that after we lost one of the games and we had that meeting, is that Conte basically said, you get on with it, discuss it, and he walked out. And this left a lot of players very confused and very like a bit like what's going on. And apparently the few of the senior players, so we don't know which senior players, went in and had a word with him and said, listen, I think that it's the way that you do our training and you're not letting us, come off the leash a little bit, that some of the tactics, that's what's, it's part of the issue. So that's what I've heard. So if that's true, then some of the senior players did go into the office and try and speak to Conte about it. So for me, like I say, if you're only going to allow certain players to have player power, let's say, then I don't think that you've got any right to say it about any player, because if you agree with some players, senior players, so that could include Harry Kane. You don't know if it does include Harry Kane, but there's also murmurs that they weren't happy. A lot of the senior players weren't happy with some of the youngsters, how they were getting treated. So again, there's just so many different things to it that it seems like it might not have just been this whole Romero and Richie thing. Like I say, there probably were more players that maybe come forward and we don't know. But it just feels like it's been a bit of a build-up of things, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I think the Jed Spence scenario too is something that needs to be looked at in greater detail now, because it would appear to me that Jed Spence, while Conte initially seemed to want him at the club, he's frozen him out for some particular reason. As you say, some of the younger players were getting treatment like this. Now, I think I'm singling Jed Spence out for particular attention because we paid big bucks for that fella, and he's only had 20 minutes first team football before he was loaned out. And I mean, now we're in the situation we've virtually Doris the tea lady be playing at fullback for us on Monday, the way things are. We should have kept Jed Spence in the loop, and he'd be at the club now and ready to play on Monday. But he's not. He's playing for Rennes in France, and we can't bring him back. You've also got the Danjuma situation, who's played 20 minutes since he came to the club. You know, this
Yeah,
this is an international. You know,
and it's a bit.
just can't think like him, or is there personality clash, or what the hell? But whatever it is, I hope now that Stellini is in charge for forever how long he's there. Stellini seems to be popular with the players, and I hope to God Stellini has got the balls to do his own thing now and not to stick to the Conte phrase book. We want to see Tottenham playing the Tottenham way from now on, not the Conte way. Conte is history. He's gone. We thought he was going to be great. He was great for a while, but look what's happened now, and the club is in disarray because of him. So we want to get our Tottenham back, and it needs to start next Monday.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As I say, I feel like that that there's been definitely a bit more than just this being said is an issue. Like I feel like there's definitely more going on with the whole scenario, with the whole Conte thing, and also Basuma. Don't forget, Basuma came in as a really good player from Brighton, a really good
Exactly.
young prospect, and again, he never got any chance really. So I think that maybe them players who come in are feeling a bit disgruntled. As well, maybe they feel like they haven't got a voice, and maybe the older senior players spoke for them and said, "Listen, we're going to speak on your behalf." I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's
I
difficult,
would
isn't it?
hope it is. It is. But I would hope now today, if today's the first day they're back at training, right? I would hope that Harry Kane, Hugo Lloris, the senior players get the team together and form a united front now for the rest of the season. Whatever went before with Conte, he's gone. He's irrelevant from now on. So we've got to show a bit of fight and a bit of determination. We're still in fourth place. It's not as if we're coming
Yeah,
from ninth like we were last November or the November last year. We've got a chance for fourth place. It's up to the team now to pull together under Stellini for however long he's going to be there, and show that what happened on the Conte in the last couple of months. The players weren't happy with it at all. They weren't happy with the tactics. They weren't happy with the way they've been treated, training wise, off the ball. So now is a chance to get it back together, win a few matches, get us into fourth. Because at the minute, there is not one pundit in this country is tipping Spurs to finish fourth. They're absolutely
no,
writing us off completely. And it's up to us now to show we've got the balls to fight that. But anyway, we're just
that's
going to
it.
show a few more comments here
Yeah, I
before
was going to say
we
that
get
because
back
there's
into
a
the rest.
few
Yeah,
built
go
up.
on. There's a lot building up here. Ellie
Yeah,
saying hi all in the chat, big up. And Carl Simpson, never seen Brazil and Argentina so united. Yeah, normally they
exactly.
kill each other. Very good, very good. And the disabled team is saying, I think player power needs to be stamped out personally. Yeah, I don't think it needs to be completely stamped out. You need to have some player authority that they're not going to sit back and take it all without reacting. You know, if they're told something they know is inherently wrong, they're not going to say, "Oh, yeah, that's fine." You need to someone maybe with a little bit of
Do you know
authority
what
to say, "No, we don't agree with that."
Do you know what you need? You need a balance. There needs to be a balance within the whole thing. So the players and the manager, there needs to be a bit of balance with it. So they both got,
That's right.
some sort of say in a way.
That's absolutely correct. And the disabled team saying, "Well said, Mia." Now, let's see. Have we got any more comments? Here we are.
Lisa's,
Yeah,
yeah, we've got.
Lisa. Do you want to read a few of them, Liam? You read them out there.
Yeah, no worries. I saw the pundit in Argentina commentating about Romero. I don't always understand the accent, but I think what he said was after what Conte said, Romero should give an ultimatum. So she said also, it doesn't seem to me as a fact that QT actually gave an ultimatum. I'll have to go and watch it again. So from what she's saying, because obviously the way they speak with the accent is a little bit different when they say things. So she's saying that obviously you'll go and watch it again, Lisa. Yeah, let us know what if you watch it again, what was said from what you can understand. So that would be
Yeah.
interesting
Yes.
to
Yeah.
see. Carl here
And also,
saying
if you're
I've
at,
actually sorry, go on.
no, go on. You go on. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, no, I was going to read the rest of the comments, but you had to say if you want to speak about Lisa, that's fine. Go on.
No, I was only going to say anyone that's in the chat, they're going to hit the like button and
Oh
get the
yes.
algorithm shifting on here, you know, and the same on Spurs between the lines as well, because the
Yeah,
more
and also
likes we get, the better.
some of you hop over there because there's too many of you in this one and not enough in mine. I'm not happy about the situation, guys. Like, come on now. Carl said, I've actually heard our old buddy Eric was the one who took it to Levy. So again, see,
Eric
we're
Dyer.
hearing different things, but because it's Eric Dyer, it seems to be an issue. But now when it's Romero and Richie, maybe not as much, but people like Romero, so they're like, oh, they sort of stick up for him a little bit more. And I don't agree with that. Whoever it is, if they've got an opinion on something that's going on, then like Philip said, we have to have a sort of balance with it all. And if it is Eric Dyer, even if he plays not good, and I do get it, then he might be speaking on the behalf of other people, though. So you don't know that he's not speaking on the behalf of youngsters that were treated not very good. So
I'm going to give Eric Dyer. I'm going to defend Eric Dyer here for this, because I've seen stories on the press about Eric Dyer, things he does in the background. I saw one particular case where a Spurs fan whose wife was terminally ill wrote to Eric Dyer wanting to know could he meet him at one of the Spurs games. And not only did Eric Dyer meet him, he gave signed shirts to their kids. He looked after them during the match and made sure that they got home safely afterwards. So, we might give out about his performances on the pitch, but I think Eric Dyer, behind it all, is a very intelligent young man who is very articulate. And I think he would be a spokesman for the team to go and tell Daniel Levy if things weren't right in the dressing room. Like, I'm not defending his footballing skills, which, he can make a lot of mistakes. But I think if he's doing something like that and he feels that the things have to be said to the chairman to right the wrongs that maybe are going on in the dressing room, then fair dues to him. I'll be behind him 100% on that, And I'm not calling that player power. I'm just saying he's being responsible. He loves the club and does not want to see it going in the direction that it seems to be going in at the moment, So anyway, back to the comments, Mia.
Yep. Kev saying hello to everybody.
Hi, Kev.
Wayne, who's in my chat, if you're on my stream, you can't see the chats from other streams. So that's what I think Tequila's gone. We can't, like, no one else will be able to see them unless I bring them up. So I will bring up mine, and
you bring them up. Yeah, bring them up
through me showing them, I suppose. So.
Okay.
Sup.
So anyway,
Tequila. Go on. We've got loads more. So do you want to get through them and then do the next topics? Then otherwise we're going to get really behind on them.
Yeah. Hang on. Now, where are we? Okay. Let's see me. I'm probably
players
lost
are gutless. If you ask me, that's what
players are gutless. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll just bring this up now. Players are gutless. If you ask me, I don't know if they're all gutless. I do think that somebody has stood up and been counted here. That they have actually, gone to the. I mean, let's face it. If the players sat back and took what Conte said about them without reacting, I'd be more worried than if because they seem to be a crowd of sheep and just follow whatever the leader said. I think Conte's comments were probably correct, but said it completely in the wrong place and showed total disrespect to the players. And somebody had to react, and somebody obviously has, and this is where we're at now. So they're not all gutless. I'm sure a lot of them are, but anyway, the disabled team is saying hi, Kevin Williams, and the disabled team. We totally agree. Tequila 316. I think that's over the gutless comment, and Tequila again. Sorry, mate. Romero should look at his own performances as well. As for Richie, the dude should look in the mirror. Yeah, but the South Americans, they're passionate. They're headstrong.
And how many of the performances truly has Romero not been good in? I know he's had a couple of red cards, but in the Man City game, everyone was saying, actually, that first tackle on Haaland actually made it. So he was a bit more worried. So it did actually achieve something. So has he had that many awful performances? I don't think that Romero has really. He's had a few. Don't get me wrong. He has had a few, but I don't think overall he's performed badly this season.
He's still the first defender on my team sheet. He's the first name I put on the defender's team sheet. He really is.
100%. If we could do a few more Romeros.
Exactly. Yeah. And Lee Richards is saying nothing new with player power, folks. We got the great Brian Clough sacked at Leeds 50 years ago. Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever seen that film, The Damned United, about Brian Clough's era at Leeds and Derby. It's an absolutely brilliant film. But it was the likes of Billy Bremner that got him sacked. Billy Bremner actually hated Brian Clough. So Kev is also saying here, I want the season to end. It's been horrendous. Yeah, it has. But I'm the eternal optimist. God, I must be mad, but I have got a sneaking feeling there's going to be a reaction from the players over all this, and that we might just not be as dead in the water as a lot of pundits would like us to be. Because let's face it, the likes of Sky Sports and TalkSport will be absolutely throwing a party if we don't finish in the European spaces this year. They will be delighted, So let's prove them wrong. Let's get out there, beat Everton on Monday night, and then we've got a few winnable games coming up. We've only got Man United, Liverpool, and Newcastle to worry about, and game-wise, there's a lot of games there we can win. So we've been through shit in the last couple of weeks. So let's look positive for the future, and I'll start taking my tablets again once this is over, So anyway, that's the rant over. That's what comes with supporting Spurs for so long. You become really irrational. Anyway, Carl Simpson again said these Spurs should have buckled down and played football. I am more worried about the injuries our team seem to be picking up. Something has to be going on with the training schedule. Well, that's the thing. Another complaint that we've heard about Conte was most clubs get their training schedules advised maybe a week or two in advance. So you're 11 to 2 or you're 12 to 3 or whatever. Conte wouldn't tell them the day before. And then he'll pick a double training session on them without telling them. And this meant the players are finding it very hard to organise anything outside the game. And I'd also like to have a word about our medical department, because we seem to have an inordinate amount of injuries, and injuries of the same thing. Look at Ryan Sessegnon. Every 5 minutes, he's got a hamstring complaint. Can they not do anything to fix this? I saw somebody passed a very good comment the other day. Well, somebody got injured on international duty, and our medical team would probably be told about it in about 3 months' time. There seems to be some lack of communication going on. And okay, I know it's always a bugbear of teams that players go out on international duty, Emerson Royale being a case in point, and they're overplayed in international and get injured. He's missing the rest of the season now because he got injured in the 90th minute of a Brazilian match. This is the problem teams have. I hate the international breaks. So we're always going to have injuries, and now it's happened to us again. But anyway, geez, I'm doing enough of ranting today. I'll have to calm down a bit. Now, where are we? Is that all the comments, Mia? I think it is. Mia. Oh no, there's still more. Do you want to read? Can you read out the next few there?
Yeah. Let's read that. So let's speed do it so we can get through them. Tequila here. Players not taking their share of blame for the situation. Cow was on the pitch and off. Conte was right.
Maybe he was.
There is some truth to what he said. So obviously we can't, I think that we just, like I say, for me, some of the players I think have probably stepped to not been good enough, but other players that really, have tried, they do try some of the time, but it's just that all of them as a collective need to buck up their ideas, if I'm honest. Where are we? I've gone back. Hold up a sec. I've gone backwards. Am I missing something? Nothing new. Player power. Hold on. That's the one. So the one on this one. Sorry, I'll quickly try and read through these. Nothing new with the player power, guys. Even the great Brian Clough got sacked once at least because of player power. Ellie is saying Doris washed her kit and cleaned her own boots. She's ready to play. She's no diva. Well, good old Doris. We love a bit of Doris, don't we? Fantastic lady.
Yeah, we love Doris is a new folk hero at Tottenham. Hi, David.
Definitely. David saying, hi from Leicester. I think the only chance of us getting top 4 places is if Stellini reverts to his match-fixing ways. LOL.
Oh, that's a dirty one. That's a long one. Talk about name now, and it's
controversial. It's only in the UK. It's only 4:56. Let's not get it controversial, eh? When the going gets tough, the players go crying to Levy. That's your obviously what Brian thinks about the players. I guess
maybe
you could say that some of the
players have reason to do it.
Maybe so. Yes, Tequila. She's very versatile and can make a lovely cup of tea. Oh. Tequila saying he'll go in both, as in both of the streams. I'm very much appreciative of that. Thank you very much. If you make you feel better, your stream is a few seconds ahead. Oh, well, there we go. Must be saying about me. I'm ahead. What can I
they are
say?
now. That's the late women power
Most
again.
most people won't see the messages. Yeah, like I explained about the messages in the other chat. Leah Richards says, nauseated to see the so-called pundits in football media line up to gleefully opine that Spurs want to get top four, never been able to understand why so many of them seem to hate Spurs. Yeah, that it is a bit of a strange thing, isn't it?
It is. It is.
With
It is.
that,
I don't know. It's not a recent thing. It's not a
very,
recent thing.
very
This goes back
strange.
years. This has gone back for years. I just do not know what
Yeah.
happened. What happened
It's-
there? But then again, when you look at it though, you've got Sky Sports, which is heavily polluted with ex-Arsenal players, right? You've got TalkSport, which is completely polluted by Jason Conte, who, even though he played for Spurs, hates us. Absolutely hates us. You know, the only player to stand up for us on O'Hara is pretty good. What's Jermaine Genius when he's on? He's pretty okay.
Yeah,
Jamie
and
Redknapp.
I'll tell you who.
Often he comes on.
Oh yeah, Joe. I think's actually really fair. Actually, Roy Keane. I think Roy Keane's very fair when it comes to Tottenham. To be honest, I don't mind listening to him.
Roy Keane is the best pundit there is. You're dead right. And Roy Keane says he was a Tottenham fan when he was a kid, you know, and he calls it as he sees it, and also he'll give us hell and he'll give us praise, you know, which is something the Arsenal guys find it very hard. Why is it that every second time Spurs are on TV, Alan Smith is a co-commentator?
I never understand.
You know, and you expect impartiality, not a hope.
Never. Ben saying, afternoon, anything embarrassing today? No, I haven't done anything embarrassing.
No.
I don't think Tottenham have done yet, but we've still got a long way to go in the day, Ben. So it could happen still.
I'd say, Ben, the most embarrassing thing that happened today was you might serve a latte instead of a cappuccino to somebody, you know. So.
Yeah, well, like I say, we've still got the rest of the day to go from Tottenham.
It's only 5 o'clock. It's only 5 o'clock
next from Spurs. So hold on. That's what I'm saying. Hold on to your hats, people. We've still got quite a few hours of the day left. Spurs players are mirroring those Chelsea. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say 10:27 on Sunday when we got the word about Conte being sacked. So it's early in the day, yeah. But sorry, Mia, go on, carry on. Read that one out from David.
Yeah, Spurs players are mirroring those Chelsea scum 5 players who cry to Chelsea owners to get 4 coaches the sack. Disgusting. Again, obviously everyone entitled to their opinion. I'm going to skip for anyone who's talking to each other because obviously you're just chatting between yourselves. Disabled team said the only person I think should have power should be the club's captain. That is a good point. If all of them go to the captain and then the captain speaks up, I suppose that is a way of doing it in a fair way. Absolutely, I don't disagree with that.
That's the way they do it in rugby. That's the way they do it in rugby.
Yeah,
only the captain can talk to the referee on the game. You know, so yeah, good point. Very good point. Very good. There's a few things we could take from rugby. We could take the VAR official talking to the ref and let us hear what's going on, instead of this secrecy that goes on. We don't know how these decisions are reached. In rugby, it's completely transparent, and it's refreshing to watch it, you know. Anyway, carry on.
Nice. Romero is our best defender, 100%. Yeah, that is absolutely very true. It's time to release Dan Zuma. Yeah. I think we should. Yeah. I think I'd love to see him get time, to be honest. I think that would be a good idea. Tequila says that's some strong meds, Philip, and to pass them over. He wants more than just tequila. He wants more than just a tequila nowadays. He wants some of the meds.
There's probably laws against that, but anyway.
Let's not say about that. We only have one fit wing back, and he only lasts 46 minutes before going off. We're going to talk about injuries as well. But for me, if Richie's fit, I would play Richie in that position. I mean, it's got to be better than what we got, surely, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't think he's fit for this game. Now he might be, but I think Porro was taken off more for tactical reasons. I believe he was awful against Scotland. So, you know. But anyway. I think we've done with the comments now, Mia, for a while.
No, we're not done. We've still got quite a few. So if I quickly just zoom through them, guys, quickly, because otherwise we're never going to get this done. Be a bad patron if I didn't. Yeah, if you didn't join my channel, definitely you would be a bad patron. Wayne, remember you can get your Patreon memberships on my channel. My positiveness has been exhausted by the club I love so much. I think we all feel
We all feel
the
that at times,
same.
yeah.
I think we all feel the same. Wayne Bonner here is saying, that's the nicest thing I've been called in a long time, Mia. Yep, I'm sure that you've been called a lot of different things, Wayne, but I won't explain. Ginola 14 says, we will not finish in the top 4, not with that mentality. Top 6, Brighton players better than us. I don't think the players are better than us.
They're better. They're playing better football than us. They're playing better football than us.
Yes.
More attractive football. But that's why I hope there's going to be a sea change on Monday night, that we go back to somewhat the playing the way Spurs can play. I do not want to see Conte Mark II under Stellini, because that is not going to work.
But this is what I'm saying about, I think that they're not better players per se, but they've just got a better team mentality at the moment. So I think, and they play better football. So I think that's the difference. Tequila said, it took me a few streams to realise we couldn't see each other's chats. Thought I was blocked. I'm so paranoid. Yep, you probably are a little bit. Probably all the tequila that you're drinking, making you a bit mad. We are cursed with injuries after every international break. Hi, Chris. Yes, absolutely. I think we are cursed.
Yeah,
I really do. Philip Meir, what can you see happening with the manager situation? We'll talk about that in a little while, Kev, because like I say, let's try and get through these chats, because we're gonna, otherwise I'm never going to get to the end of them. I will go in both from now on. Thought it can get, though it can get confusing. Yeah, you don't want to confuse your brain. So less tequila and more brain power. That's what I suggest. Have been around good physios all my career. A player suffers from a calf or hamstring injuries when they are young, but they will continue to have those problems for the rest of their careers. Okay.
Yeah, that can happen. Yeah, I mean, I've been hard on Sessegnon. I've been a bit hard on Sessegnon, but he just seems to be the new version of Darren Anderton, really. Sick note.
Sick note, yeah. Right, we'll see a few more. Blimey. What about Betty from the kit room? I heard she's ready to go full on Romero on the midfield. Well, I suppose if Betty's up for it, then why not? Yeah. I'm in both streams, Mia. Thank you so much, Lisa. I do really appreciate everyone jumping onto mine. That I really do appreciate it. I think everyone's just chatting to each other on this bit. I think that I've got Ellie saying, let's ditch the wing back system. Ding dong, the witch is dead. And
depends
then we've
got
Wayne going, I'd rather have us. Yep, it does depend. Saying, I'd rather have a settled team and there's new comments. I can't read that one. A settled team and then top 4. That's more important to me. So
one might bring the other. A settled team, settled club equals trophies.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's it. Hopefully. And thank you as well, Ellie, for jumping over on my stream as well. She said she's jumping over to mine to back me, so I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Right, I think we're nearly there in the comments. I think I'm just going to move. I'm going to jump the statement. This is more or less what we talked about, but the statement the Spurs released last night regarding Paratici's upcoming worldwide ban. They claimed that they had not been informed by FIFA at all prior to yesterday morning, and that documentary or that interview that Paratici filmed them was released on Tuesday. They wouldn't have shown it if they'd known and this was coming along. I just cannot believe, right, that such an organization with FIFA would not have given Tottenham a heads up that this was coming. I'm sorry, but I just do not believe that statement. It's Spurs blaming everybody but themselves, where in fact somebody somewhere should have picked up the phone and must have picked up the phone to Daniel Levy and said, listen, boy, your director of football is going to be banned worldwide from tomorrow. We're giving you the heads up before it releases. It just does not seem credible in this day and age with communications so open that Spurs were not informed. And for them to go back and blame everybody else, I think is typical Spurs, really. There's no way out of this one. Paratici, in my opinion, has to be sacked and sacked immediately.
Yeah, no, I agree. But what I was thinking is Spurs publicly saying they didn't know? Would FIFA not have a bit of an be a bit upset about that fact? Would they not kind of be like, hold on a second, you're blaming us, but we told you? So I'll be very surprised if they lied and publicly said that they weren't informed. If they were informed, that's the
Yeah,
only thing I
possibly, but
can.
yeah, you could be right. You could be right, but it's just, in such a serious matter as that, I'll go back to politics, right? Even in the House of Commons, when something's happened, or our Parliament here, normally when something's going to happen, the press will have it before it happens. They have copies of the speeches before they're made. So this is why I just can't believe such a thing like that. Okay, maybe it was an oversight on FIFA's behalf. Maybe they told they told this previous club Juventus, because that's where the alleged offences occurred. I just can't understand. But then again, you've also got Daniel Levy being criticised for, he knew this was pending whenever he took Paratici on. He
Yeah,
knew that there was trouble brewing with Juventus, and yet he still brought him to the club. And so
yeah, no, I
again,
know.
like a lot of this, I've seen an awful lot of criticism of Daniel Levy. And to be honest with you, I think he's now in a more delicate position at the club than he's ever been in his 22 years at the club over this particular
Yeah.
matter. And I think a lot of people are calling for his head over his handling of this. And so the people that want Levy out might actually, I'm not saying we all want stability at the club and we all want decent ownership. And this might be the straw that breaks the camel's back, if you like, on Daniel Levy's behalf, and he may be forced to resign. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
What do
no,
you think,
I
Mia?
do agree. Yeah, no, I do understand where you're coming from, and it is a massive mess. Like with the whole Paratici thing, if he didn't do his due diligence, then that's on him and that's on the club. Like there should have been a real thorough thing about it. This new evidence has obviously come along. Unless Paratici was very secretive about it, again, the club should have done better. They should have done better. And I do think this is the worst state that Tottenham have ever been in. Like we were saying in the back before we come on, we've got no women's manager, we've got no manager in the men's team, and now we've got no director of football that can actually. We've got one. I don't think he's been fired yet, but he basically can't do his job. It's ridiculous. It's an absolute joke, and no one want to come into this joke either. Who's want to come into it? They need to sort it out quickly, like super quick. I feel like it needs to be sorted ASAP because otherwise it's going to look much, much worse for them. And there might be legal implications with Paratici and why they can't sack him yet, because it's innocent until proven guilty. And if it's in the court of law, that's how it is done. So I kind of wonder if there's legal implications and why they haven't sacked him. But still, we shouldn't have been in this position in the first place. Like, we shouldn't have been in this position in the first place. That's the problem.
Well, he has actually been found guilty. It's whether he can work during his appeal, and that appears to have been denied now. He's been told he cannot work with anything.
No, the ban's different. The ban, he's been found guilty, but he's actually got a legal case against him. So he's going in a criminal court for this as well. So that's separate.
Right. Yeah, but the one he's been banned, the FIFA ban does not allow him to deal with transfers or agents or anything like that, which is effectively what he does. So that's why in this particular case, I don't think he's any leg to stand on, But I think the problem is, you mentioned who's going to come and manage us. If I was Julius Nagelsmann now at the minute, I'd be looking at Tottenham and saying, hang on, I'll pass on that one, because that is a shit show over there. That is a total disaster. And that's going to be the same for any self-respecting manager that's worth his salt. And I mean, we were linked with 4 or 5 very, very top grade managers over the last few days. That's all gone quiet now. We'll probably be linked now with Sam Allardyce or Alan Pardew or someone like that, because who would work? They would come to work for Spurs. Nagelsmann won't. Luis Enrique very much doubt it. And then you've got the Tuchel has gone to Bayern. That's one of the candidates gone off the list. Now Pochettino is the real mystery man here. If you can believe reports, that Pochettino has not even been approached yet. And yet, for the last 12 months, all we've heard is Poch is coming back to Spurs. So Daniel Levy at the minute, I think we all have different views on Pochettino. I'm not going to reiterate them again. But I think at the minute, Pochettino would appear to me to be the best bet we've got, because at least he knows the club. He knows what he's letting himself in for. And is he that much of a masochist that he wants to come back and work on the levy? I do not know. But I would just like something to happen over the next while because, as I said, Stellini will do for now, but not long term. Not long term.
No. Let's get through a few comments so we don't get build up again. Paratici scamming his way through life, but at least he bought Romero for you, Mia. That is very true. I mean, I get to look at his beautiful face, so I'm not complaining about that one. Maybe our fax machine broke down again. Yeah, I suppose they use any excuse.
Yeah.
Wouldn't the legal team know? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, is there no communicate? Like, what has happened with the communication with the all of the whole the different teams that are working for Tottenham? It's a bit of a mystery on what's going on, to be honest with you. I don't know
the number of levels of communication there is, and none of them seem to be aware of anything. It's a total breakdown.
Like the PR team and the legal team, and it's just like there's so many different things. It's just like, what are they all doing? Are they just sitting on their hands? Are they getting paid for nothing? Because that's what it appears to be.
Sounds like it.
It shows how out of touch from reality the Spurs ownership is. Anyone with a brain cell that they were liable to extend the ban worldwide. How clueless were these fools? Yeah, I agree. It's very naive.
We've known for the last 6 months that this is going to happen. If he lost his appeal in Italy, it will be extended worldwide. And this is now what's happened. But there was no contingency plan. There was no contingency plan put in place. It's
sorry.
No, go on there.
Yeah, as I say, it's totally naive, isn't it? Really, let's be honest, Philip. It's really naive for them not to think it was going to happen.
Like for a multi-million pound company, it seems to be run by idiots, for want of a better word.
Yeah. Hugo for left wing back. I mean, I don't know if I trust him in any position at the moment. But you know, maybe we can have if we have Lloris back in goal and have Forster as one of the centre backs. He's a big guy.
He's tall enough. He's a big lad. Yeah.
Why not? Jokes aside, I'm pretty sure Spurs couldn't sack Paratici under his appeals in Italy and with FIFA until they're over. Legally, we wouldn't have a leg to stand on. I think we could put him on leave, though. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Lee. I think that there's definitely legal implications to sacking him, and we don't want to get into hot water. So I do have a suspicion that's what it is. And yeah, you could put him on gardening leave, I suppose. That would be a way of getting out of it, in a way. Levy would never show it, but maybe his eyes totally off the ball because everything is going on at once. His due diligence skills are left wanting. Yeah, they definitely are left wanting. I need to go into the club and sort it out myself.
I think he's in there. Yeah, I think so. I think apparently he's building a house and he's building a huge house in the Bahamas at the moment for himself. Daniel Levy, 25,000 square foot house. Maybe he's planning on retiring. You know, you don't build a house that big, just have it sitting there and not occupied. But anyway.
While Lewis is alive, Levy is only in danger if the bottom line financial figures are not as expected. Joe, what I did say actually is that Levy gets a lot of blame, but we don't really say much about Joe Lewis. Don't forget he's at the top of that chain, and whatever what he wants also goes down to Levy. So on some senses, Joe Lewis is just as responsible.
True, he's Daniel Levy's godson, a godfather as well, as far as I know.
Yeah,
but hasn't he passed over? Has he passed over power to his daughter at the moment?
I thought it was to attorneys, and then they were going to pass it on.
Then to the daughter, maybe. Yeah, maybe. But again, that's a kind of limbo land as well, you know. So there's just so much indecision about what's going on at the club at the moment, you know.
I know. And, Lisa here's saying 100%. Tequila saying bring in Big Sam as he's the Don and can cook the books together. Him and the Don can cook. Oh dear.
Oh dear. It's a nightmare. Big Sam. Yeah.
God. The someone who will want to come into this circus act is a coach who will get paid 15 million a year. I don't even know if enough money given is now.
I don't think it could be
enough
paid
to get somebody in, if I'm honest. I don't know if anyone will. Spurs are appealing to find out what he can do, if anything. It's a very bad look on Levy, something that should have really called into question his ability to really run and chew gum at the same time. That's a very good point. Very good
Just
point.
a good point, yeah. I did hear the legal team were working all day yesterday on with FIFA, trying to find out what the ramifications of all this are, but there's been no further statement from the club, so obviously they haven't got a definitive answer yet. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. So, but the comments
David
are
Clark
really flying today.
I know. It's been blown out of the water that Levy sacks coaches to save money and bonuses is untrue because Mourinho cost however much that is, 20 million?
20 million.
Yeah, 20 million.
Yeah. I did hear that the agreement that they came to with Conte was 4 million. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but that's what's been reported, yeah.
Yeah, and I heard it was about that much.
It would have been more. It would have been more, but I think Conte cost himself money by speaking.
Yeah, no, I think he did.
Anyway, sorry, Mia.
I think he did. Someone needs to buy out Enoch Field. See if you can send Niall Quinn an email. See if you can put in a consortium together to buy out Enoch.
yeah, Niall Quinn. Yeah. I don't think he had his time at Sunderland. So I think if you watch that documentary on Amazon about Sunderland, I think we might change your mind on that one a bit. Although Niall Quinn is a good businessman, but I don't know if he's got the wherewithal now to put that sort of money together.
Yeah, actually, a guy that when I walk the dog, there's a guy who supports Sunderland, and we were having a good chat about Sunderland one day on our dog walk, saying that.
Yes.
Very interesting. The appeal is what the legal team are using to find out what, if anything, Paratici can do for Spurs. We've got Dan saying, hello, Dan. Phil and Mia. Hello, Dan. I hope that you are well. We've got Ellie saying Stellini was done for match fixing and served a 2.5 year suspension. Yes,
yeah, that's true.
Did
There was a Series C match or something.
Yeah. Hold on, I've lost the chat now. Right, here we go. We've got David saying perhaps the pigeon died on his way back with a letter from FIFA.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone ever saw that episode of Blackadder. Do you ever see that episode of Blackadder goes forth when shoots the pigeon and gets court-martialed for it?
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
Reason so. Oh.
No, go on.
Reason so many of us are here because we've not had enough Spurs news happening today. We need our fix for now.
Yeah.
I don't know why you want a fix because I get a bit bored of it.
This is methadone for Tottenham treatment. So it is. Oh dear. Anyway, and Ellie, I'll read a few of them in early. Ellie is saying, I think Levy loves leaving us all in the dark. I think he thrives on it. We're only, after all, clients, so that's true. You wouldn't want to be waiting on information from Levy. Now, when I see, I'll just go back to this now. I'm going to get the right. Apologies if we miss any of these comments, lads, but we've one more topic we want to discuss. I think we've discussed the Paratici thing to death now, but one more topic to discuss, and I think this might be a little bit controversial when you see what it is, whether we want them or not. Anyway, I think we're nearly there on the comments. Yeah, we're there on the comments. Right, now, this is the... I say apologies if we missed any hours. We didn't mean to, but there's been so many. They've actually inundated the comments today, which is great. Now, this is something that's been cropping up over the last 24 hours or so, and it's ta-da! Do you want an ex-Chelsea player at Spurs? Because he's been linked with us. Personally, I think James Maddison would be a better buy, but I'd take Mason Mount, providing we disinfected him before he came into the club. What do you think, Mia?
Yeah, I think, you know what, he gets a lot of stick, doesn't he, Mason Mount, for not being very good. But I actually think I think he's fairly decent, but he is ex-Chelsea, and I don't know if I like that idea. It makes me feel a bit dirty having an ex-Chelsea at the club. It's bad enough we've had their managers, and now we're going to have their players. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, I see Tequila's coming in there with a comment. He's saying no to Mount for me.
Let us know what you think.
I think Maddison would be a better fit. I think he's more like I saw Madison play against the home game against Leicester this season, and he was absolutely. I know they lost 6-2, but he was absolutely superb. And he's the type of midfielder that we need, creative with an eye for a pass. Which is, we've been missing that badly since Christian Eriksen. So no, a lot. It'll be Mount or Madison. It'll be the M game to see which one we get. But does he want to come to us? This is the thing, If his agent was made an offer now tomorrow, will he want to come to Spurs the way we are at the minute? It's going to depend on who the manager is. And this is the old catch-22 situation. We can't get players without a manager, and we can't get managers without a player. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and as Lisa and Tequila pointed out, the money as well. How much would they want for him? And he'd want high wages. So if we couldn't afford it, he's been linked with Liverpool. And to me, that's more likely than it would be for him to come to us. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you're looking for over 200 grand a week. That would make him an equally top player with Harry Kane. Now, whether Harry Kane's with us next season again is another case in point, because obviously the press have jumped all over the situation and they've made his mind up that he's leaving Tottenham. So we'll see what happens. And Tequila again saying no way, Lisa. So I'll tell you what, if you put the comments, put your yes or no to Mount in the comments there. We're going to go off the air now shortly, and we'll have a look at it when we come back in, and we'll see whether Mount is wanted at Tottenham or not. And
in the comment section, below. When we're not live anymore.
And then it says Neil Shafton, right now I think we need to figure out who will remain and who will go. They sent players to Arsenal. Maybe Todd is planting players with competitors to get the inside secrets to help us to beat Chelsea. Oh, this is Todd Burley. Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing. It's nice to know that at least one club is a bigger idiot than a chairman than we have. That guy does not have a clue. So anyway, and anybody legal missing, that was allegedly. Right? Lisa, yes, but not above Madison and not for the wage he wants. Yeah, I might totally agree there. So listen, folks, I think that's it. We've been on for an hour. We hadn't planned to stay this long, but thank you so much for all the comments. It's been really, really good. We mightn't have solved anything, but at least we've talked a bit of Tottenham, and now we can sort of, we've got our fix for the day. And Mia, when are you on again live?
I will be live unless anything else happens. It'll be Saturday morning to do my preview for the up-and-coming game on Monday against Everton. So that'll be interesting to sort of try and work out who's going to play and if what formation we're going to play. So yeah, you can come and join me there. And don't forget to hit the like button, everyone, for both of the streams, and leave your comments in the comment section below, because it does really help with the algorithm. And Absolutely. You can also get your members on THFC Till I Die, so you can become a member, and you can become a Patreon member with me. So if you can do that, it all helps the channel. If you can't, we appreciate all likes and all the views, comments. It really helps us. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you. And I mean, I know these are difficult times to be a Spurs fan. I'm having to take an awful lot of stick and crap and jibes from fans of other teams, But listen, we're Tottenham. We've been here for 140 years odd. We'll still be here another 140 years when the next third generation will be moaning about them the same as we are here now. Let's just get behind the team. Get behind the team. We're still in fourth place. We can still get Europe. And with a bit of luck, we will get Europe, and a bit of foresight and a bit of what would you say, players showing that they've got balls.
Do you know what's funny? I was actually born in '82, so they were Tottenham were founded 100 years before I was born.
There you go.
Exactly 100 years.
Yeah, I know. Listen, we've got it. It's in the blood. It's addictive. You cannot get rid of it. We're all addicts. We're all addicts and will be for the rest of our lives. But it's a nice addiction to have when your team is doing well.
Oh,
it's not so good.
Quickly, we've got breaking. Richie denies I'm giving an ultimatum.
All right. Okay. Oh,
that's on his Twitter page, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, he can deny all he likes. I bet you he's still delighted Conte'S gone.
Yeah, so, probably.
That's it. Anyway, folks, listen. We'll still be here. We'll be here. Dermot will be back in shortly. I'm not quite sure when he'll be back. We'll be on whenever the news breaks. if and when that is. And I think Dermot and myself plan to maybe do something on Saturday as a preview to the Everton game. So, but if anything breaks in the meantime, you can be sure we'll be on it straight away. And again, Mia, thanks a million for co-hosting again. And I'll talk to you soon. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. In the fans we trust.
Exactly.